In today's video, I'm visiting some famous graves in Valhalla Memorial Park in Los Angeles.
The first grave that we'll visit is Curly Joe Dita, the last stooge. And here he is. He was the last surviving member of the Three Stooges.
Dita began performing in stage shows from the age of 7. During World War II, he toured with Randolph Scott and Bing Crosby for the USO. Mo Howard had initially tried to recruit him for the Stooges in 1955, but Joe was still under contract at the time. He eventually joined the Stooges in 1958 after Joe Besser left. At 5'4", he was the same height as both Mo Howard and Larry Fine. In the Stooges, he was called Curly Joe because of his resemblance to early Stooges member Curly Howard. Mo Howard's death in 1975 ended the comedy team, and Joe Dita decided to retire.
And he's the only member of the Stooges who was not Jewish. In 1993, he died just before his 84th birthday, 4 months after the death of Joe Besser. Grave of Arur Q Brian.
Arur Q Brian was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899. He initially had aspirations to become a singer. In 1928 he was hired as a singer by a radio station, but he soon started a new career as a radio announcer. He moved to Los Angeles in 1936 and worked as a screenwriter for Paramount Pictures. But he then transitioned into acting and appeared in B-movies. In 1940 he was asked to voice Elmer Fudd in Warner Brothers cartoons. Prototype versions of Elmer Fudd's character had been voiced previously by other voice actors, including Mel Blanc, the voice of Bugs Bunny. But it was Arthur's version of Elmer Fudd that made the character a hit. Arthur's version would continually mispronounce the letter W with R, famously pronouncing rabbit as wabbit. Arur Q Brian would voice Elmer Fudd for the rest of his life. He died in November 1959 from a sudden heart attack. He was 60 years old. Arthur was replaced by Hal Smith for a few years, but the production crew decided to retire the Elmer Fudd character in 1962.
Martha Vickers, although she's on the gravestone as Martha, how do you say it, Rojas? R-O-J-A-S. She was an actress and model.
She had a small uncredited part in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in 1943. Martha Vickers is best remembered for her portrayal of Carmen Sturwood in The Big Sleep, but also for being Mickey Rooney's third wife. It's believed that she upstaged Lauren Bacall in The Big Sleep, but unfortunately for Vickers, the 1946 film was intended as a vehicle to promote the Bogart-Bacall chemistry, and many of Martha's scenes were left on the cutting room floor. Her career stalled in the 1950s, but she did appear in some TV shows, including Perry Mason.
In 1960, she made the last film, Four Fast Guns, and after 2 episodes as a guest star on television's The Rebel, she ended her acting career. After that, nothing was heard from her until 1971, when she died in Hollywood of cancer.
Martha Vickers died of cancer at the age of 46 on the 2nd of November 1971.
Barton McLean, actor. He appeared in many classic films from the 1930s through to the 1960s, and he starred as General Martin Peterson on the 1960s TV show I Dream of Jeannie, alongside Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman.
He portrayed mobster Brad Collins in G-Men in 1935 with James Cagney. He also appeared in 3 films with Humphrey Bogart: The Maltese Falcon in 1941, High Sierra in 1940, and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre in 1948. As well as being an actor, he was a published playwright and author, producing many plays and starring in Black Jack on Broadway.
He died 1st of January 1969, aged 66. I don't have much information about this next person, and we almost gave up looking for him, but I've come across the grave now. Nels Nelson. He starred as a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz, 1939. And he was also in Bonanza in 1959. He was born in 1918 in Wisconsin, and he passed away in 1994 at the age of 75.
Within this section of around 100 cremation graves is the cremation grave of Oliver Hatty. Oliver Hatty worked with Stan Laurel in Laurel and Hardy films from 1921 until 1951. He was 35 years old when he appeared in the first Laurel and Hardy film. Born and raised in the state of Georgia in 1892, his speech never suggested a southern accent. His parents were of Scottish-English origin. He married 3 times but did not have any children. He met his third wife, Virginia Lucille Jones, during the filming of The Flying Deuces in 1939. Jones was a script girl on the film. Billy Wilder, the director of such films as Some Like It Hot and Sunset Boulevard, had planned to do a film with Stan and Ollie in the 1950s. The film would have opened with Stan and Ollie sleeping in one of the O's of the Hollywood sign. The project was abandoned due to Ollie's failing health at this time. To this day, Laurel and Hardy are much loved across the world, but Stan and Ollie both died in relative poverty, as they received no royalties for the TV repeats of Laurel and Hardy films. Hardy suffered a stroke in December 1956 that left him unable to speak. He died following a second stroke in August 1957. Stan Laurel would later reveal that Hatty had advanced cancer at the time of his death. Oliver Hatty was barely recognisable in his final months after losing a considerable amount of weight on doctor's orders. The sudden and drastic weight loss may have contributed to his strokes.
The final grave I'll visit today is a cremation grave, and it's a cast member from the Addams Family. Ken Weatherwax. He played the part of Pugsley in the Addams Family, the TV series and the 1977 reunion film.
Ken Weatherwax was born in September 1955 in Los Angeles to a showbiz family. His half-brother played Porky in the first 3 seasons of the TV show Lassie, and Ken's uncles were the owners and trainers of the first dog to play the role of Lassie. Ken Weatherwax began acting at the age of 9 when he appeared in a toothpaste commercial. He was soon cast as Pugsley in the Addams Family. After the show had ended, Ken lost interest in acting, but he did reprise his role for the 1977 reunion film, by which time he was 21 years of age. He continued to work in the film industry, but behind the scenes as a studio grip and also as a set builder. Ken Weatherwax suffered a heart attack at his home in December 2014. He was 59 years old.
I can see it in your eyes, I can feel it in your touch, I can hear it in your voice, though you haven't said that much. Through an empty bottle, I can see it all so clear. All these broken pieces